Walks are just about the hardest things to animate. That logo took us 9 months to animate. I had designed it as a logo for the cover of my book to show the different styles of animation. But I never would have done it that way if I thought I was going to have to animate it. But we did. And these DVDs are about learning the animation systems and principles to enable you to animate walks or anything else you want to, from the very basic to the most sophisticated. The methods will apply to any kind of animation, whether it's CG, 2D, stop motion, or games. We'll be learning and we'll be relearning the basics, and we'll build upon them layer by layer by layer until we master them. I think there are two kinds of animation, aren't there? There's the first thing any student does, or you draw as a kid in your school book, in the math book or something. You animate little figures in the bottom and you tend to change one thing into another, isn't it? You morph from, or any student film, they have a tree turn into a frog, into a woman, into a car, into a airplane, into whatever. All animation is based on change, I think. So you're changing one thing into another, and that lasts about 5 minutes. And then you can't stand it anymore. However interesting it is, you just unplug after 5 minutes. And the other kind of animation is drawings or images, computer images, that walk and talk, which that will sustain for 100 minutes. 72 minutes if the kids have to have a pee, isn't it? That's the sort of rule. So obviously we're going to choose images that walk and talk. So change still, as we'll see over these 4 days, change still applies to everything we do. And all these methods I'll show you of limbering things up is what you do is you get more bang for the buck within the movement. You're going to have more change. And you can use these things in the most crude way, or you can use them in an extremely subtle way. And for the computer animation, as far as I can see, the great thing about the computer animation is that you can be incredibly subtle. You can do tiny moves. So you use the same method, but you use it incrementally tiny, or you can use it very broadly. I learned what I know from some of the great animators of the golden age of animation. They invented the systems and methods that we're going to study in these 16 DVDs. Unfortunately for me, I had to learn it the hard way over years and years. I ended up employing some of my teachers in order to learn from them. And others were just friends, like the genius Milt Kahl. Milt, he was so good that he was faced with an awful lot of envy. And he just made it worse by being utterly honest. He was honest like a child is honest, which was terrifying. I mean, he would say, "You can't draw your ass." And one of his friends came back with an hour later with a fully rendered drawing of his ass. But he would blast off at everybody. And he was known as the King, King Kahl or God. And God would yell at you if you didn't have the stuff right, you see. Well, when they write the books on this stuff, they try to underplay him, and they kind of damn him with faint praise. Although we'll go into him later. But they had a picture of him. It says Milt Kahl with the great, the 9 great animators or something at Disney or something. And it says Milton Kahl, sophisticated use of the basics. Well, that sounds like a put down, What else is there, I ask you? I have never found anything that wasn't the sophisticated use of the basics. Everything I've ever done, and I was considered an innovator for a lot of the time, it was all based on the basics. And the more I learned about the basics from these old birds and understood them better, the more my sophisticated invention would occur, but based solidly on the basics. I really don't think there is any more. In these sessions, we're going to study over 400 specially animated examples. We'll begin with basic stuff like the bouncing ball and fundamental things like timing
and spacing. These sessions are about how you learn and what you need to do in order to learn. You can just dip in and out of some of the different subjects, like walks, accents, vibrates, dialogue, and anticipation.
Well, at last you're home.
But I recommend you swallow the whole pill. Start from the basics, and then move on layer by layer through to the sophisticated use of the basics. We'll be showing how to think about animation by showing pose positions and then full animation. We'll show how to animate and also how not to.
What this is to get limberness, you get this. To get snap, you do that.